Welcome to REWIRED, a podcast that shares the coolest stories of innovation and behind-the-scenes breakthroughs from Intel, AWS, and our favorite partners. I'm your host, Akanksha Bilani. I run the go-to-market team for Team Amazon at Intel, and really our role is helping bridge the path with AWS partners and customers. Today, I have the privilege of speaking to Brian Bohan, the Director of Consulting Partners Center of Excellence at AWS. Brian, thank you so much for being here.
You bet. Thanks for having me. Really excited.
Welcome. Brian, would you like to tell the audience here a little bit about your role within AWS and how we're driving excellence with our customers today?
Yeah, absolutely. I can unpack that long title, which you got through, so thank you. And so I lead a team that really has a dual remit or dual mission. So on one hand, we do look after a set of global strategic partners. So think about the GSIs like Accenture, Deloitte, IBM, TCS, Capgemini, et cetera, as well as some of the advisory partners like McKinsey, Bain, BCG. We also have channel partners, and we're defining their global strategy and really partnering tightly to grow our respective businesses. At the same time, we have this other part of the remit where we are a center of excellence. So we're picking up the signals across all of our consulting partners and our customers. We're developing hypotheses, we're running experiments. And then from those experiments, we're picking out what do we think is really going to work. And as we look forward, especially right now with Gen AI and Agentic just changing things seemingly every week, and also all the transformation that's happening among consulting partners, where do we want to place our bets? Which partners are going to be those partners that we work with to help us grow our business to $500 billion and beyond? So that's the second part of my team's remit. It's actually a super exciting time to be doing this, again, given with all the change.
It's amazing to see how our partners can take advantage of the focus that you guys have through your partnership. So that's tremendous. So on that same vein, since you've been kicking it and driving this with AWS since a while, do you want to tell the audience about, the exciting projects that you've been working on lately and potentially a favorite customer story that you think that you're super proud of?
One is really close to home. And I like this one because it's a great example of why my team exists. And so a part of my team works very closely with some of the large, again, global systems integrators who also happen to have large, what we call business process outsourcing or business process as a service businesses, where they'll take over entire back office processes for customers and run those and optimize those over time. And then in addition to that, there's a whole slew of pure plays that do this as well in very specific areas. And when you think about what's going on with Agentic, and you think about what they do, which is manage processes, this is where we're going to see a lot of the innovation, a lot of the transformation take place, is with partners like that, delivering really profound results to their customers. So my team dove in, working very closely with these partners, got really specific on the processes that are going to have the highest propensity to make an impact. And this was like early on, right? And I think there were a lot of tools and a lot of technology, but not a lot in the way of how do you literally go from a deterministic process to a probabilistic process. You need to understand the context of the process. You need to bring the right tools and services and capabilities. You need to think about how's the workforce transform around that. Then you need to think about how do I observe it and how do I govern that process and how do I run it at scale. And they really dove in. They developed a reference architecture. They developed a whole methodology around this.
That's amazing. Wow. So that's a massive methodology, I would say. I know AWS has all of these leadership principles, but I think you guys are definitely breaking glass. So congratulations. That's amazing.
I want to just tell one more customer story. I'm in the office right now, as you can see, and I bumped into Dan, who's on our team. He's working with one of our partners, and he introduced me to another colleague of ours who's a PhD from our automated reasoning team. And so together they're working with one of our partners with a auto manufacturer. And by applying generative AI built on Bedrock, Agent Core, and applying automated reasoning, they're taking down the time of order to delivery from 6 months to 2 weeks. And what's so cool about this is now we're talking about applying Gen AI in the heart of the enterprise and core systems, core processes, like delivering vehicles. And so with automated reasoning, which is really differentiated in Bedrock, we're able to do that. We take the prompts and then we apply automated reasoning to predict which prompts are going to actually deliver the best results. And then when those results come back from the models, we also apply automated reasoning to tune them to get them highly accurate. And so it's that kind of reliability and accuracy that you need to really make sure that you can rely on the results from the AI and move forward confidently. And then this week too, I had a couple folks from my team in town and we were doing exactly like you talked about, right? Mm-hmm. How do we ourselves apply AI and adopt AI and all the tools that we have so we can be more productive. What's really like I think helped us within AWS and broader Amazon take a giant leap forward in the last really several months is Quick Sweep. With Quick Sweep at the edge now, we can actually use it as a deep research tool. You can automate workflows with Quick Sweep. So we're doing that right now with our team. Just this week, I was on a call. Someone was asking a question about a totally different part of the business. And the old model would have been, okay, let's set up a meeting and do like a monthly review and everyone writes a document. This was, okay, well, we'll just use Quick Suite to go introspect the data sources, which all have MCP servers on them. We'll spin it up, then we'll create a workflow that checks it and then sends it to you via Slack or email or however you want, right? And so we're just like changing the ways we work completely. And we tell our customers this as well, is that all the tools in the world won't help you if your data isn't good. If you own a partner, if you own a domain, an initiative, a program, you are now the librarian for that particular domain. And it's your job to be the curator and curate your knowledge store. No, you have the knowledge bases, you have the agent sitting on top, and then you have the prompt already baked in, and then you're just producing the answers on a regular basis. And again, through workflows, pushing them to the right people. So we're really passionate about adopting this. And by doing so, I think we're able to talk to our partners and our customers more effectively as well, because this is exactly what they're all going through. I'm super excited about all the capabilities we're going to be launching this year that will benefit our partners, that will give you the content that you need, but also allow you to contribute back through the AI tools. So it's much more seamless, a lot less friction to work with AWS.
Oh my God, that's incredible. Yeah, kudos to you, your team, as well as AWS for thinking outside of the box. You guys are definitely custodians of a lot of data and a legacy of relationships that you guys have nurtured and garnered in the past 20 years. And if there's a faster and a more productive way to make sure that we drive those discussions to think bigger about what our collaborations look like for the next years to come, that's super exciting. And Intel is very excited to catch up with that. That's awesome.
Cool.
Well, on that same note, we're talking about state of play today, Brian. Wanted to think a little bit futuristically for the benefit of our audience. What do you feel is going to be the next disruptive technology in our industry?
I think the most disruptive thing that's going to happen in the next, 1, 2, 5, 10 years is actually just the adoption of agentic AI. We're still figuring out the ways of working around this. When I talk about this, I really want to start with, why are we doing all this? And I think we're doing all this to free people to do those things that are uniquely human. There's one customer story too that this makes me think of, which is with Genentech. So the process to discover new therapies is intensive and it's expensive and it takes a long time. Now they've stood up this research agent built on Bedrock and Agent Core, and it's really an orchestration of agents. And it saved them 43,000 hours of time to develop drugs. It's making their researchers so much better and so much more effective because they're not having to do the drudgery of looking through the research and figuring out the biomarkers. It's doing that for them. So it lets them think through the next creative problem solving. To me, that's what I'm so excited. You could talk about all this future stuff, but we've yet to begun to really fully adopt this. And I think that's just going to be a big game changer, especially if we keep the human at the center, focused on what this unleashes in terms of their potential.
Absolutely love it. The focus on the why, so that it could work backwards from all of that is tremendous. And amazing thoughts on that, Brian. I'm very excited about seeing how, the innovations that the organizations as well as the industry is driving right now is going to just make us live better lives.
Yeah.
For the sake of obviously us, but also for the sake of our next generations to come. So that's amazing. That's great thoughts. Thank you for sharing.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's always fun to talk about these things.
Well, that wraps up our show today. You've been listening to Rewired, the podcast celebrating innovation on the bleeding edge, brought to you by Intel and AWS. Check our show notes out on Rewired page at www.rewired-podcast.com or wherever you listen to podcasts for links to learn more about what we discussed today. I'm your host, again, Akanksha Bilani, and I would love to give a massive thank you to Brian for being here and sharing these awesome stories and vision with us. Brian, thank you so much for coming down.
My pleasure. Thank you.